And I definitely introduce her as someone who speaks from the chest. Speaks fully, who sees you fully, and who shares fully, and who loves fully. And I can't wait for you to love her even more, because I know you thought it was impossible, but it is. Let's welcome Roxanne to the stage.
That was my Spanx, y'all. Listen. Let's hear it, okay? All right. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. I'm going to close this out tonight. It's an incredible privilege. I know I probably speak for everybody. It's a privilege to be here and share the stage with you. Thank you for the community you've built. Oh my gosh, I'm already crying. You guys, this is what you know about me. I'm a badass, but I cry a lot. There we go. Okay. I'm also going to try to focus myself. So I'm sharing a really vulnerable part of my story tonight. We are at Thriving Women's Community. Yeah. So this might be very unexpected, but I'm going to start by saying sometimes we are all thrust into survival mode. 7 years ago, I got a call that changed my whole life. After really weird and frustrating symptoms that I had written off for a really long time as motherhood, overwhelm, and stress, I was meeting everybody else's needs and justifying my lack of connection and care with my own body, even thinking that that was noble. Anyone else been there? Yeah. I finally, at the urging of my husband, went and got checked out, resulting in an MRI. But at the time, I remember thinking, this is so overkill. Y'all are so serious. The next week, the phone rang while my 4 kids ran around my living room, literally hollering and screaming, "If you don't believe me, come over." The voice on the phone told me that my MRI results showed concerning lesions on my brain and spine, including what they said was a black hole in my brain, tissue that was gone. Can we all agree that we should never say to anyone they have a flippin' black hole on the phone? So, all I remember was the person saying that this is indicative of either MS, multiple sclerosis, or ALS, and that I needed to see a neurologist immediately. My world stopped in that moment. I hung up the phone and I said nothing to anyone. When my husband got home that night, I didn't even tell him. I was completely numb. I could not process what was happening to me. My nervous system was thrust into survival mode. And I was thinking hard about what I could share with you guys 7 years later, because I don't have a magical story of complete healing. I don't have this triumphant story. This is very much something I'm walking and living in every day. But you know what I realized? A scrappy, gritty, real story of pain and joy commingled together is what thriving is. I reread a blog post I wrote from this phase of my life, and this phrase stood out to me. I wrote, "My life is unrecognizable right now." I was told then by my neurologist, my first one, he was a douchebag. Sorry, that was not on the plan. This is why I stick to my notes. Oh, I don't act right. Okay. I was told by my first neurologist that the progression he was seeing in my body might mean that I would be in a wheelchair in 18 months. I had 4 little kids. I wrote at that time that I know figuring out what life will look like now will require a lot of unlearning and relearning. It will require grace with myself and patience with us as a family. It will mean that I have to battle deeply held beliefs that I am what I do. There was a lot of mourning and a sense of loss, but this is what I also realized. Watching and wondering and watching can be purposeful. We never know what tomorrow will bring. Quite literally, I could wake up tomorrow unable to walk, or go blind while driving my kids. Both of those are really fun adventures, guys. And it can happen to you too. And right about now, you're thinking, who invited this vibe killer? This chick sucks. And trust me, I do not say that to be a vibe killer because I am the first one to go dance on those tables with you later. I love to celebrate and live life fully, but I also know that pain is a part of life. It comes for everybody. I say this because I want to normalize struggle. You know, people always say things like, God will never give us more than we can handle. BS. BS. I call BS. If you are struggling with something that is too heavy for you to carry, it doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. I avoid saying those things to anybody because when they hurt when you are carrying a crushing weight, they are exposed as the lies they are. The truth is, we say that kind of stuff because other people's pain and our own pain makes us uncomfortable. But our own suffering and the suffering of others is part of life. What if you're not just supposed to move on or get over it? What if the hard is an invitation to integrate and journey through new places and discover new things about yourself? This is messy. I have heard this hard space be described by a therapist as a time of psychological richness. And that is the key to a well-lived, fully embraced, and abundant life. And that's what I want. I don't want a story that is, I went through this, but everything worked out. My story is, I'm going through this right now, and there's a lot of power in the word and. We can take radical responsibility. I can choose to dance today. We can engage in meaningful work. I can be present with my family. I can stop comparing myself to other women, and I can choose to celebrate myself and others recklessly. That's how I'm learning to thrive. I want to encourage you guys as we wrap up tonight to find people who will sit in the dark with you and not rush to turn on the light. Distress is normal, right? Distress is normal, but despair will take over and it will tempt you to think that it will always be this way and you will never be able to integrate it. It's a lie. I don't know any incredible, badass women who have not been through periods of deep grief and loss. It comes for all of us. And if you are taking on too much right now too, because everybody needs you, or because you always have, or because you're working yourself into the ground and your clients don't appreciate you, or you're trying to teach your kids how to love themselves by putting yourself last, that's a you problem. Don't wait until a life-changing diagnosis to make that change. That was my story. It's a you issue, and it is brave to edit our lives. It is brave. It is not failure to say, I need to do something different. I even used to say stupid things like, I can sleep when I'm dead. Is alignment in how I run my business and how I run my life. So we all in this room carry things that are invisible to other people. I promise you. Most people would not guess that I've gone blind or I've been unable to walk, right? Because I can kind of dance. But it's a reality of my life that is not seen to others. And I just want you to know and feel seen tonight that there are things in your world that others don't see. And that's what this community is about trying to see one another. Let it undo us and remake us. Let it increase our empathy and grace for ourselves and radical accountability for what we can control in the midst of the uncontrollable. These are things to encourage you that have been key for me thriving. Ladies, never say no to you. Never say no to your body, your mind, your spirit, your soul, and healthy emotional differentiation will serve us. Audit how you treat yourself when the expectations of your current reality do not meet your expectations. Know that you cannot lead your children to a place of healing that you have not been brave enough to go first. Let go of explaining yourself to people that are committed to misunderstanding you. Don't shrink yourself smaller to make other people comfortable, and don't puff yourself up to try to impress people that are not your people. Say it with your full chest and trust your discernment and your voice. Choose joy and look for it in really unexpected places. And finally, no definition of success from someone else will ever feel as good as alignment with yourself feels. So show up in your own story, even in the really hard and disappointing parts. And humbly admit it's brave. So what if we allowed space that this thing that maybe you're thinking of, it's not my story, but it's yours, this thing that you think will break you, to actually remake you. And the clearing out and the death of some things will make room for new things to grow. I remember in the months right after my diagnosis, so much unknown, when I could barely say it out loud. I couldn't say the word MS out loud for months and months. I woke up one morning and I had this deep sense that God said, I dare you to find joy in this thing that feels like death. I'm going to do just that. For me, these are holy truths and hard-fought lessons, and I want to close to encourage you and ask, what if the thing that you think is meant for your destruction is actually an invitation to live in more freedom? Thank you.